Good morning, students. I am Captain Dr. Nitya Shukla, Principal, Swift Institute of Nursing. Today, I am going to discuss research objectives, hypothesis, and review of literature. These are basic concepts, but they are strong building blocks for any construction of any research study. Research is an organized exploration of a problem, and every researcher attempts to gain solution to problem by following a ladder. And formation of objective is the first step of the study. According to Zora Neale Hurston, research is a formalized curiosity. It is poking and prying with a purpose. Coming to the definition of objective, objective is a clear, concise, and declarative statement that provides direction to the study. Now, coming to the characteristic of research objectives, research objectives have to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timely, feasible, logical, observable, unequivocal, and relevant. The objective should be worded using strong proactive statements which use strong action verbs like apply, describe, determine, evaluate, explain, identify, illustrate, predict, ascertain, assess, construct, contrast, create, formulate, list, recognize, relate, report, restate, review, solve, sort, and translate. Now, there are certain weak verbs which one should avoid writing in the objectives. They are to know, to understand, to appreciate, to really understand, to fully appreciate, internalize, to grasp the significance of, and to have an awareness of. Because these are very vague, they should be avoided. Actually, there is no fixed number of objectives. However, they should be sufficient in number to be able to appraise the advancement towards meeting the aim of the study. The objectives should include obtaining answer to research questions, and they should be tested in priority order also. Now, importance of writing research objectives. They act as a steering wheel. They clearly define the objectives and will help the researcher to focus on study, avoid unnecessary collection of data, systematize study in well-defined components of phase, and assist in the development of research methodology. Now, there are two types of research objectives, general objectives and specific. They are also called secondary objectives. General objectives are broad goals to be achieved. These state what the researcher anticipates to accomplish by the study in general terms. They are usually fewer in number. These objectives can be broken down into small, logically connected components to form specific or secondary objectives, and they are achieved by accomplishing the specific objectives. The specific objectives are more in number. They systematically deal with different parts of research problem as defined under the statement of problem, and the main aspect is that is thought to influence the cause of the problem. Now, how do we state the objectives? The following guidelines must be taken care of while stating the objectives of a research study. First is research. The objectives should be written briefly and concisely. Second, they should cover various aspects of research and in a logical sequence. Third, the objectives are clearly phrased in operational terms, specifying exactly what researcher is going to do, where and for what purpose. Example of writing aim and objectives. There is a statement, a randomized controlled trial on effectiveness of 2 training packages for family caregivers on quality of care of operated neurosurgery patients admitted in a hospital. The aim of the study is to create evidence base for best practice for neurosurgery care. Please note that it does not have any element of measurability or quantification. There is no time limit mentioned in the aim. The general objective is to compare the effectiveness of 2 training packages for family caregivers on quality of care of operated neurosurgery patients under study. Here it specified what researcher will be doing. Now coming to the specific or secondary objectives of the same statement. The secondary objectives will be first to ascertain the nature and extent of problems related to care provision faced by the caregivers of operated neurosurgery patients. Second, to explore the opinion of family caregivers about their role in care provision. Third, to compare the impact of two family caregiver training packages on quality of care of operated neurosurgery patients. One thing is important to remember is that aims, general and specific objectives should match. Now coming to some brainstorming questions. Which of the following statement is true? An aim can have only one objective. Objectives have no link with methodology. Objectives have no link with study title, and objectives are subsidiary to aims. Only one of the statement is correct, that is objectives have no link with the study title. Next is which of the following verbs should be avoided while writing the objectives? Determine, identify, consider, ascertain. So here you should avoid writing ascertain. Next, consider the following objectives: to provide care to the pregnant women, to estimate the prevalence of leprosy, identify the correct response. First is both the statements are well written, both statements are poorly written, first is written well and the second is poorly written, and both are written poorly. So out of these, first when we talk about to provide care to the pregnant women, this is a very vague statement. It does not specify the what kind of pregnant women in what trimester, whether they are high risk, whether they are from urban or rural, nothing is mentioned. And second is better than the first because it says it estimates the prevalence of leprosy in Punjab, but still this can be modified into a better statement. A hypothesis should be written in a declarative sentence, be written in the present tense, include the population, it should include the variables, reflect the problem statement, and should be empirically testable. Now coming to the sources of hypothesis, a rationale or source of hypothesis can come from the researcher's own personal experience, it can come from previous research studies, and it can also come from theories. That is, nursing research involves both inductive and deductive means of formulating hypothesis. Now coming to the categories of hypothesis, hypothesis may be categorized as simple or complex. Simple hypotheses contain one independent and one dependent variable. The example is birth weight is lower among infants of alcoholic mothers than among infants of non-alcoholic mothers. So here the alcohol status is the independent variable. Now coming to complex hypothesis. Complex hypotheses contain two or more independent variables or two or more dependent variables or both. So daily weight loss is greater for adults who follow a reduced calorie diet and exercise daily than for those who do not follow a reduced calorie diet and do not exercise daily. Now coming to the formats of hypothesis, these hypotheses can be set either as propositions or in the form of if-then statements. The two formats can be seen in the following two examples. First is employees who are more healthy will take sick leaves less frequently, and second is if employees are more healthy then they will take sick leaves less frequently. Then there are directional hypotheses. These are these are called directional hypotheses because they give the direction of the relationship between the variables, positive and negative. The example is the greater the stress experienced in the job, the lower the job satisfaction of employees. Second is women are more motivated than men. Now, non-directional hypotheses are those that do postulate a relationship or difference, but offer no indication of the direction of these relationships or differences. Like there is a relationship between age and job satisfaction. Second, there is a difference between the work ethic values of the American and Asian employees. Then comes null and research hypothesis. Null hypothesis also stated as H0. This is a statistical hypothesis that predicts there is no relationship between variables. The hypothesis that is subjected to statistical analysis. Like there is no statistically significant relationship between the type of water fed to the flowers and growth of flowers. Then his research hypothesis is also stated as H1, that is an alternative hypothesis to the statistical null hypothesis, predicts the researcher's actual expectation about the outcome of a study and is also called scientific, substantive or theoretical. For example, that there is indeed a statistically significant relationship between what type of water the flower plant is fed and growth. Hypotheses are never proved. The result of statistical analysis will either support or fail to support the hypothesis. If the null hypothesis is rejected, the research hypothesis is supported. Thus, if a theoretical proposition is being tested and support is found for the research hypothesis, the theory is also supported. Now coming to review of literature, the whole structure of science gradually grows, but only as it is built upon a firm foundation of past researches. A research literature review is a systematic, explicit and reproducible method for identifying, evaluating and synthesizing the existing body of completed and recorded work produced by researchers, scholars and practitioners. The main purpose of literature review is to bring the reader up to date with the research done on the topic and the important variables that are likely to influence the problem situation are not left out of the study. A clearer idea emerges as to what variables will be most important to consider, why they are considered important, and how they should be investigated to solve the problem. Thus, the literature survey helps the development of theoretical framework and hypothesis for testing. The problem statement can be made with precision and clarity. Testability and replicability of the findings of the current research are enhanced. One does not run the risk of reinventing the wheel, that is wasting effort on trying to rediscover something that is already known. The problem investigated is perceived by the scientific community as relevant and significant. Now coming to the sources of literature. The primary source is a report written by the original researcher of a study. It provides first-hand information or ideas obtained from the original material, and the secondary source involves description or summary of research study by someone other than the original researcher. Now there are certain literature which you can access through electronic media and hard copy. They are textbooks, journals, conference papers, reports, theses, newspapers, meetings, seminars. These are few important sources which can be accessed through electronic media and hard copy. Currently, there are many online resources sources for literature. Currently, search for literature is generally carried out by using computers and electronic databases. The computer databases facilitate access to an enormous quality of information. It can be retrieved more easily and quickly than using a manual search. A number of electronic databases are available for searching health-related literature. In US, Michigan-based Global Information Content and Technology Company. It was founded in 1938 as University Microfilms. It provides solutions, applications, and research and learning, publishing the dissemination and acquisition management and discovery of library collections. ProQuest. It has grown tremendously over the period of time. Today, it provides tools for discovery and citation management and platforms that allow library users to discover, manage, use, and share research gained from reliable content. The various contents include dissertation, thesis, e-books, more than 45,000, newspapers, periodicals, historical collections, government and cultural archives, and other aggregated databases. The total content is estimated to be more than 125 billion digital pages. Content is accessed most commonly through library internet gateways. Renowned abstracting and indexing make this information easily navigable, while content tools including instant bibliography and citation generators simplify management and sharing of research. The Dynamite, it's a clinical reference tool available on AppSco platform. This is a reference tool created by physicians and other healthcare professionals for point of care use. It is updated on daily basis. It monitors over 500 medical journals and systematic evidence review databases. The Dynamite community helps the clinicians, physicians to assimilate and synthesize the evidence available in the format which is understood easily and help them make decisions. AppSco Information Service was founded in 1994. Its headquarters in Massachusetts, United States. It offers library resources to customers in academic, medical, public library, law, corporate and government markets. Its products include AppScoNet, a complete e-resource management system, and AppSco Host, which supplies a fee-based online research services with 375 full-text databases with a collection of 6 lakh plus ebooks, subject indexes, point-of-care medical references, and an array of historical digital archives. It supports the information and collection development needs of libraries and other institutions and maximizes the research experience for researchers and other end users. Basic search strategy is pick a search topic, divide the topic into various concepts, find words, that is keywords or subject headings to represent these concepts, combine concepts with and or not, these are the Boolean operators, and refine search with additional terms of limiting factors. Now process steps of literature: selecting a topic for review, deciding the keywords, searching the literature, and critiquing the literature by reading and analyzing the literature, organizing the matter, and writing the report. Important considerations are: when you are writing the literature review, avoid long paragraphs, take care of grammatical errors and punctuation. In one paragraph, there should be only one concept. You have to be specific while writing, focus on definite methodology and important results and significant other findings. There should be a smooth flow in the write-up, and one paragraph should smoothly merge into subsequent one. ROL should gel with the objectives of the sub-study. It should bring out the lacunae of the previous studies. The reference cited in the text must be in the reference list written at the end. Avoid abbreviations while writing review of literature. Conclude the review with a brief summary of the main points, general conclusions, gaps in the literature, and implication of the research. I hope I have served the purpose. Thank you very much.